Hi, this is Abaya from Scrappy Mania, and today we're going to address the issue of getting these newspaper. I get a lot of newspapers on my front yard, and a lot of time I just throw it in the recycle bin, but I decided that I want to create a project using these newspapers, and it's something that I saw in on a YouTube channel, and it's a Spanish YouTube channel. Her name is Gusta Monton, and she takes recycle magazines or newspaper, and she creates boxes and things like that. So I decided I want to create something for my glue. So I want to address two problems that I have. One is all the newspaper that I get that I recycle. And the other problem that I do have a lot of times is with this glue. You buy these craft glue, and if you store it upright, then when you want to use your glue for your project, you gotta constantly shake it down and then wait until the glue comes all the way to the bottom and then use it. And I did go to a scrapbooking store, and they had these cool PC piping that they were selling that you can put your glue in there and store it upside down. And that way it's always ready to use whenever you're ready. And I didn't really want to buy that, so I decided I can try to do my own kind of tube that I can place this in, and it will keep my glue upright. So let's go ahead and get started. So basically I want to create, I already started creating some of the tubes. So it's going to be something like this, and then I'm going to go ahead and be able to store my glue upside down. And so that's what we're going to do today, and this is for recycled paper. So let's go ahead and get started. You're going to need recycled paper, like I said. Let me put this away. And you're going to need some scissors. You're going to need scissors. You're going to need some paper. You're going to need some glue in order to adhere the paper together. And I'm going to use this Fabri-Tac glue, but you're also going to need some Mod Podge, because at the end, once we do it all, glue it all together, we're going to go ahead and use some Mod Podge and put it on our piece. And then we're going to also color this with some acrylic paint. So you're also going to need acrylic paint to give it color. And if you want to embellish it, you can embellish with flowers and things like that. So the first thing I want to do is create the base. So what I want to do is have this base, and then I'm going to put about 6 of these around, like so, around my circle. This one is just going to lay upright, because this is tack it over and over, and it's very liquidy. So you really don't want this upside down. You want to keep it upright. So this one's going to be in the middle, so I'm going to create 3 more. But at first I want to show you how to create the circle piece on the bottom. And I'm also going to show you more project, not in this video, but in other videos, following up other videos. I'm going to show you how to create boxes and a little bowl and everything with recycled paper. So everything starts with a circle. So let me show you how to create this circle. We're going to take the paper, so I have a long piece of paper, and I am just going to fold it in half. Let me see here. Then you're going to take your scissors, and you're going to cut on the fold here. Okay. And you get a long strip like you see here. One long strip. And then you're going to take the fold line. So it has a fold line right here. And then you're going to cut that into. So there. So what we want is long strips like you see here. Single page long strips. Okay. I'm going to put this aside. Okay. Once you have your long strip, you're going to need some kind of skewered or something round in order to make some tubes. So let me take one of my strips. Okay. And then you're going to go ahead and put your skewer on an angle. Don't put it at a 45-degree angle. You want it more like a 30 or 20-degree angle. And you're going to bring the tail up and then you're going to roll. So what we're making is some cylinders or some tubes with our paper. And see, you want to try to roll it as tight as you can. And then once you get to this point, you're going to go ahead and support the paper underneath. And you're just going to keep rolling. Until you get to the end here. Trying to make it as tight as you can. And then you're going to use some glue stick. And I always put a little bit of glue stick at the end, so that way it'll stay attached to my paper. See, I created a nice cylinder. And you're going to have a thinner, it's going to be thinner where you start it, and it's going to be wider at the end. And you're going to create a bunch of those. So I have tons that I've been working on, and I created a lot of those cylinders. Now to create your circle, you're going to take a bone folder or your fingers, whatever you want to use, but I'm going to use a bone folder. And to start it, so you're going to take your bone folder and you're going to flatten out the piece. And you're not going to flatten this piece up because we're going to take the next roll, we're going to insert it in here. So that's why we don't want to flatten this yet. So once you flatten it out, you're going to take a little bit of adhesive, put some at the end, just when you first start it, and then you're going to roll it. And you're just doing like a quill, similar to a quill, and you just keep rolling it in. Okay, before you're done here, see how I have that open area there? You're going to take another one of your cylinders and you're going to flatten it out. You're going to put a little bit of adhesive just at the end, and then you're going to go ahead and insert that into the opening of your first piece. You're going to put a little bit of adhesive on your circle here, and then keep twirling. And then make sure you pull as you twirl, because you want to keep this nice and tight. And then you're going to repeat the process. I'm going to do one more so you can see what I'm doing. And then at the end, once you do all the whole as large as you want it, you're going to take a paper clip and you're going to clip it on the end to dry. Okay, so it's going to make something like this. So at the end, what I did is I took a paper clip, I put here, I clipped it on, and I allowed it to dry. And that created my form. So once you do that, then you want to take some Mod Podge. I got some Mod Podge here, and then you want to put a coat of glue throughout your whole piece. So let me get my something that I can use this surface. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take some Mod Podge glue, and this is a homemade Mod Podge that I made with just Elmer glue. It's Elmer as acid-free glue, and they do have acid-free version of your regular Elmer glue, and it's cheaper than regular glue like the Scotch Guard or Scotch adhesive or anything like that. I like to buy the acid-free Elmer glue for like making my own Mod Podge. And then you're going to take some glue and you're just going to make sure you put a lot of adhesive so that way it gets in between the grooves, and it makes the piece sturdier. So you're going to do that on this piece. And then you let it dry and you put another nice coat on the back end of, on the other side of this piece. So now let me show you how to create those tubes. So once you created your base, so this is the base. Now we're ready to create our cylinders, you see here. And what you need to do is you need to cut some cardboard, some flexible cardboard. Now this is a box shirt that I have around in my house. So basically it's one of these shirt boxes that you get during the Christmas time for your presents. So I took some of that and I recycled it. I cut, this is actually 6 1/4 by 3 1/2. So 6 1/4 by 3 1/2. You're going to take some more of your newspaper. So you're just going to take a piece of your newspaper. And actually this is a little too small. Let me get the other one that I cut. Oh, here it is. Okay. And you're going to use some of your glue stick. Make sure you kind of put a lot of glue on your piece, or you can take your Mod Podge. Okay, and then we're just gonna wrap this up in our newspaper, nice and tight. So I'm just taking and cutting off the excess, and here I'm just cutting the excess off on one side and then mitering the corners and just folding that on top of my other piece. I have my piece. I'm going to take my adhesive because I need the measurement, and then I am just going to fold it over, and I'm not gonna make it too tight because you want to make it that you can easily bring the bottle in and out. So I think that's good enough. And I'm going to use whatever adhesive you want to use. I'm going to use some of this tacky glue adhesive, tacky glue. And then just bring it together. And then hold it in place. And actually I should have put this piece underneath, the one that I wrapped, but that's okay. We're gonna wrap it around with our cylinder, so it's gonna be fine. And then you're gonna make sure that it dries. And did I tell you this is a messy project? Your hands gets filled with the newspaper ink, but that's fine. So now that it's nice and adhere, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take one of these paper cylinders, and the first one you're going to just flatten it out, making sure that your opening is not flat, just the beginning. And then for this, I use actually, to adhere it on, I actually use a strong adhesive. And I start away from my edge here, away from the seam. And then you're just going to put a lot of adhesive as you go around. And then here, notice that I'm where I started, right there. So now I'm going to go ahead and start going down along my form. See how I kind of crisscross it a little bit, and now I'm going down. And notice that I'm putting glue between my rolls. Okay, so now I'm at the end, so I'm going to take another piece We're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to take another piece, flatten it out, leaving the top unflattened. We can use this glue instead of stick glue. We're going to insert this in the last piece. See how I insert it in the last piece? We're going to put some glue right there. Oh, sorry, I hit the camera with my tail. And then you just keep doing what you were doing before. Just make sure you put glue in between your rolls, like I'm doing there. And then the next piece, again, you insert it onto your last piece. And if you have some difficulty putting it in your other roll, just need to cut it like I did earlier, and it will go in. I have one more piece here, so I can cut this at an angle. And just make sure you put enough adhesive on it. And then this area right here, right there, we'll go ahead and put it against the other. So when we glue it together, you'll put it together like that and you won't even see it. So there, you created your cylinder. So now I'm going to create 2 more because I need 6 for that piece, and I shall be back and we'll start putting it together. Now that I created all my cylinders for my piece, now I'm going to put a coat of Mod Podge on all of these because we want to make sure that all the paper does not come off, and you want to make sure you want to give it a little more strength, and the Mod Podge is just going to help put glue everything together and make it even stronger. So, and also you're going to make sure that you put a lot of Mod Podge inside your tube because you want to make sure that paper remains flat because it's going to get a lot of use as you pull the ballers in and out. All my pieces are dry, so now I decided to color it, give it a little color, and it's going to be black, but I'm going to make it the acrylic not as thick. So I'm going to put some on in my pan, and I'm going to put a little bit of water, and it's going to mix this up. And when you do use water and you make it liquid like you see there, a little thinner, it really goes into the grooves and cover your piece very nicely. And you're going to do the same thing with your cylinders. So I'm done painting everything, and now I want to give it a light little coat of some acrylic paint, some gold, to give it a little shimmer. So you just take a little bit of paint, and with a dry brush, you're going to do it this dry. You're just going to go on the piece like I have here on one direction. Okay, now I'm going to let it dry, and then you're going to do the same thing for your tubes. And here you're going to do the same thing, one direction on all of your tubes and on top. Okay, so I got everything painted, so now I'm ready to assemble. So you're going to look for, because we put our tubes or our strips of paper around this tube, sometimes one of the edges is not completely flat. As you can see there, this is not completely flat. So you want to use the flatter end of your tube, and you want to put that at the bottom. And then you want to make sure that, see, here's where we finished off our piece. You want to bring that in the center so that way you won't see that. So you want to keep what's going to show out here on the outside is going to be the best part of your cylinder, and then you want to make sure that the flat piece is right against the piece here. You want to make sure you have it even. Now I'm ready to put some adhesive, and I'm going to use this glue all, but you can also use some hot glue if you want to. And then I'm going to place it down, making sure that my seams are right where they belong. Then I'm going to make sure that I put something heavy on top. Make sure I put that there. And I'm going to allow this to dry. So I'm done gluing all my piece. Now, I had to re-glue some of these too, because the glue that I was using, the Elmer Glue All, it's not as strong as we need it to be. So I went ahead and pulled out my hot glue gun and used that to glue everything together. And then I went to the hardware store and found this at Ace Hardware. And it's kind of like a Lazy Susan. So I'm going to put that there. And I created another round discs, just the same size as the first one that I created. And this is going to go there. And then this is going to go on top. So that way it spin. Now, in order to give it a little sturdiness to this, I'm going to go ahead and put a band of cardstock on the bottom. And then to hide that, I'm going to go ahead and put a little edging with this fringe. So that's what I'm planning to do for this piece. So I think the first thing I want to do is kind of attach my my Lazy Susan or my spinning gadget on my piece here first, and I'm going to use some hot glue for that. And hopefully it gets hot enough. It's not hot yet. So we're going to go ahead, put a lot of adhesive. I'm going to hold it down like that, and then we're going to put the top on. And then I'm going to put the top like that. Now I didn't put gold on here because that was going to be hidden, so that's why I decided not to put gold on that side. So I heated everything off camera, but then I had to go back and put a stronger adhesive to keep my spinning gadget in place. So here I'm just putting that band to give it a little more stability to my whole piece. And plus I added another cylinder in the middle to also add some more strength. And I'm just putting a fringe just to give it a little decorative element and some pearls. I decided that I wanted to put some pearls on my whole piece here. So now that we have completed our project, I can easily put the bottles here. Now this is tack it over, so that one's always liquidy, so we're not going to put it upside down. But these will fit right there. And then you could even use this for these bottles to keep it upside down. So there you have it. So I hope you like this tutorial, creating your own carousel for your glue, and this will also work for pens. So look how nice this will look too for holding your pens. So you use it for pens. You can use it for your scissors. You can use it for your glue sticks. You see there? So a lot of potential. You can use this for a lot of other stuff, not just for your glue bottles. So I hope you liked this tutorial, and thank you for watching. Bye now.